and it's Representative-elect Adrian Smith. He's a Republican of Nebraska. He represents the 3rd District. Congressman-elect Smith, welcome to Washington, and tell us about your district.
Well, the 3rd District of Nebraska encompasses 68.5 counties of Nebraska, 82% of all of Nebraska, and about 65,000 square miles. So there's a lot of territory to cover, but I've been doing that for quite a while now with the campaign. I've served in the legislature prior to that from the far western end of the state, and so I've crisscrossed the state many a time. I'm anxious to make more stops along the way, though.
How long does it take to drive from one end of your district to the other?
Well, Peter, it all kind of depends. On a serious note, about from my home to the state capitol is about 6.5 to 7 hours. And so it's actually a different climate. We have different kind of agriculture in the panhandle of Nebraska than we do the eastern end. But that's what makes it interesting, and that's what makes it exciting to represent, is that diversity across the state of Nebraska.
And what kind of industry is in 82% of Nebraska?
Well, it's predominantly agriculture, but we are home to Cabela's, a company that many people know about, who hunt and fish perhaps, but a lot of agri-processing. Union Pacific Railroad has a large presence as well. The largest rail yard in the world is at the Bailey Yards in North Platte, and a lot of other diverse industry as well.
And you're replacing Coach Tom Osborne, is that correct?
That's right. Mr. Tom Osborne, he served the district very well, and I'm honored and humbled at the opportunity to take his place.
And what have you found most surprising about Washington so far?
Well, folks are very friendly. I come from a pretty small town, and so things are different, a little different, but the folks are so friendly here. I'm very grateful to interact with them and get to know other colleagues who have been through a similar campaign and yet represent a different part of the country.
What committee will you be serving on?
I hope to serve on agriculture and perhaps science, and looking at those opportunities. Obviously, agriculture is a great fit for the district in terms of the Farm Bill coming up this next go-round. And science, I'm looking at that committee hopefully with the biotechnology or bioenergy, biofuel efforts that hopefully will be underway within the Science Committee as well as other committees in the Congress.
And if you've got a few minutes, we'll take a few calls. First up is from Stamford, Connecticut on our Democrats line. Go ahead, Stamford.
Oh, hi, thanks. I was actually hoping to talk to Chris Murphy earlier, but I'm happy to talk to another newly elected member of Congress. I just wanted to say a couple comments first about the Connecticut race. I think one thing that was really interesting to note in Chris Murphy's case is that was a race that was not considered a toss-up by any national pundits early on. It wasn't considered a targeted race by national Democrats. Nancy Johnson was considered a very safe incumbent. There was another seat in Connecticut, the 4th Congressional District, where Chris Shays was the Republican incumbent, where he was seen as much more vulnerable than Nancy Johnson. But Chris Murphy went in and he ran a great grassroots campaign, and I think it says a lot, not just for the resurgence of the Democratic Party, but for something that's really positive about democracy, that somebody like a Chris Murphy can come out of relative nowhere in a race that's not considered competitive, but he can go door to door, he can knock on doors, he can get a lot of volunteers to go back and reconnect to people in their neighborhoods and come through and win a really important race like this, where the race in Connecticut that was considered toss-up, 4th Congressional District, the Democrat who was considered to be somebody who would have won, Diane Farrell, didn't win.
All right, thanks. We got the point. Congressman-elect Smith, 2 questions out of that. Number one, was there a Democratic tide, and what do Republicans need to do if there was to combat that? And 2, how did you run your campaign? Was it a grassroots campaign or a televised campaign given the size of your district?
Well, it's a little bit of everything, actually. And I do want to say that our democracy is alive and well. Our 2-party system is alive and well. And while I'm coming in as a member of the minority, that's okay. There's a great function for the minority. And, I hope that we can encourage free and open debate, that when we get bills for consideration, that we can have hearings, that we can have some input along the way. That's the way we operated in the Nebraska unicameral. Every single bill had a hearing, and every single person who wanted to testify at a hearing was able to do that. And so I hope that we can do that here in the Congress. But I do want to say that The accountability mechanism of our two-party system is alive and well, and I think it's great for America.
And again, how did you run your campaign?
Grassroots. I knew that we had to get out and meet as many people as possible, even though they're spread out in the 3rd District of Nebraska. Actually, it was a great way to see what's going on. We've had drought in a lot of Nebraska for several years now, and so I was able to make stops along the way, meet with farmers and ranchers along the campaign trail because they are experiencing firsthand the impact of the drought.
When did you first get interested in politics?
Well, I made my own Reagan Bush signs in 1980 for my 4th grade desk. So actually, though, I do remember the mock election we had in kindergarten when it was President Ford versus Governor Carter, and Governor Carter pulled that one out in the kindergarten class in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, just as he did nationwide. But that's my first recollection, and my first campaign involvement was my dad running for an office, state University Board of Regents, and I went door to door for him. We didn't win that one, but fortunately we put some of those principles to practice here in the last few years, and have been successful with that.
And I understand that Ronald Reagan came to your 4th grade class?
No.
No?
I wish.
Oh, I read that. I guess that was a misprint then.
Well, that would have been something.
Are there advantages to a unicameral legislature like in Nebraska?
Well, I would say there are advantages. A lot of that is built in by mechanism into the rules, where every single bill has a hearing, even if it was introduced in the prior session. Every new bill gets that public hearing, and I think that's a great opportunity for literally Nebraskans and actually anyone from outside Nebraska wishing to testify on the impact that bill might have to a business, to a person, to a community. And so a lot of it is the way the rules are made, and that seems to work out well.
Our guest for the last 10 minutes has been Representative-elect Adrian Smith, 3rd District of Nebraska, Republican. Welcome to Washington.
Thank you.